Good morning, young man.
Young man, I think I'm older than you, sir. How old do you think I am?
Well, I think you definitely got me, but that doesn't mean that you have to mentally think that.
Oh, I'm definitely 25. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Great. Fantastic.
How many folks you expecting today?
About 10.
Okay. Good deal.
Oh, Bert. So how's everything up in your part of the world there, Brett?
Yeah, it's slowing down. We got some rain today. It's good.
Yeah, send it our way, okay?
You guys have, how long has it been since you guys had rain?
4 days.
Oh, that's not too bad. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe just finally drifted up here.
Maybe. Probably came from the coast. I was down the coast. It rained both days I was on the coast.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had we got just a little bit of rain on the weekend, but other than that, we haven't had a whole lot. So it's
Yeah.
pretty. Hey Matt, so we're starting up a couple of us from my 4 block group from last fall from the cohort. We're starting up a LinkedIn Mill ATX.
Okay.
We're trying to get an Austin group started up similar to the Mill City team.
Right.
So we're going to start that up. The first one will be September 15th. So we're getting ready to start putting some stuff out across LinkedIn and stuff for everybody. So
Send me that information. Okay.
Yep.
The reason why is I'm working on something I'm kind of almost out of stealth mode on this, but I'm working on a San Antonio transition calendar, which is similar to the San Antonio business calendar. So
Okay.
there's a lot of great information that comes out of the transition alliance, but unfortunately nobody sees it. They share stuff, and it's like a typical staff meeting. You think that everybody's going to share it? No. So we're in the process of creating a calendar like that. So just know that I would like any information like that.
Sure. Yeah, we're trying to I mean, this will be the first meeting, and we're trying to, like I said, just really network and get the
Okay.
group out there for the folks up in Austin.
Well, you guys have a big component between all
Yeah.
the folks that kind of live on the north side of Austin that commute to good old Fort Hood,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to do. So
Yep. Happy to help. If ever you want me to come speak sometime on LinkedIn, just let me know.
that'd be great.
I can do that. Hello, Carlos.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, gents.
Hey, it's my favorite Boston Patriot fan. Hey, Brian. I got your stuff, and I'll talk to you afterwards about setting up a time to work on that. You were my last meeting before I went on my marriage enrichment weekend with the lovely Dr. Shear. So I'm just kind of getting back in the swing of things. Hello, Gavin.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm having more fun than a guy's allowed to have. Right?
Yeah. Yes, it's one of those days.
I'm looking at this of the of the of the framework of the people in this organization, there's not one Air Force guy in here except me. Well, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Brent Schaefer. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. We got one or two. Sorry about that, Brent. I forgot. Hey, Brent, how was the dropping the girls off? How many boxes of Kleenex did you go through?
My wife and I got through at least one each.
Gotcha. Big
The
box.
small
small.
boxes.
Small box. Okay. Hello, Delana. How are you, my friend?
Hey fellas, how we doing?
We're good.
I'm still on coffee, even though it's 11 a.m. I feel like that's legal.
On coffee? Oh yeah, I'm definitely highly caffeinated here myself. Okay. Yeah, it's the only way I can make it. No, just kidding. Okay, so let's get started because we had a big group and we've got one guest, Bert from the San Antonio Veterans Council. I invited him to come, and we have a transplant, and that would be Cece. Cece was in the 4 o'clock group, but now she's moved to San Antonio, and now she's part of the 10 o'clock group. So we'll let both of those guys introduce themselves in just a second, but we'll start with the proverbial wins and challenges. And I'm going to start with Rodney because Rodney's got some wins he wants to share with us, right, Rodney?
Sure do. Got a big win last week. I was offered and accepted a position with Oasis Systems here in San Antonio. So getting ready to start. We starting here September 12th. So looking forward to that. So a lot of my efforts was getting ready for that. The challenges was still trying to get back into LinkedIn. So hard to balance that with being Mr. Mom. My wife makes it look so easy. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, and I know you and I have an appointment later in the week, right? I saw that. Looking forward to it. Congratulations. So wins, challenges as a Mr. Mom. Okay, who would like to be next? I'm looking for volunteers. Okay, Ash.
Hey, morning all. So wins and challenges. The wins for the last 2 weeks is started the Catalyst program and the MBA program at Southern Methodist there in Dallas, online, of course. So that's been an exciting new challenge. So I consider that a win. Challenges is balancing schoolwork, work, and home life balance. It's and then working at nights kind of makes that a little bit more of a challenge. But other than that, that's really my 2 weeks.
Okay. Who would like to go next in this group?
I'll go next, Matt.
All right.
All right. My wins for the past 2 weeks was that I've worked with a few more companies with my business and just tried to create an attitude where if they don't want to hire me, then it's their loss. And tell myself that, I'm going to sell them. So I actually wrote into a contract that in addition to my services for events, that I would charge $30 per hour for business management projects. And I'm going to talk to the guy at 1:30 today from 8 Count Media about this position. And it's exciting. I'm going to go to Iowa on Friday for a kickoff event with my friend. And it's from an Australian company. So they only have like 4 or 5 people in the US, period. So I'm going to try to create a data analytics pipeline using a Google form. So it's exciting. It's a challenge.
I want to hear more about that from Christine. If you and I could talk, I'm really interested in that because I'm at a point right now. I've actually bought my first computer with just Google only. And it's an interesting change in format. I'm trying to absolve myself of Microsoft sometimes.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting. It'll be a good chat, Matt. I look forward to it.
Let's do that. Okay.
All right, so the losses are just not having enough time to work on the little projects that I started, and just struggling a little bit with time management and trying to get enough jobs and stuff, and just that. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Other regular attendees. Gavin,
Hey, so I had a big win last week. I was accepted in the Shift Defense Ventures program on Friday.
nice.
So I'll intern with a VC firm October into November. And I started the Commit Foundation program. So I'm going through those videos and pursuing your purpose pipeline. And then big challenges is, time requirements. So I'm trying to take the Lean Six Sigma black belt and knock that out. That exam, I finished all the coursework, and then just getting my command to sign off on pretty much all of September leave. And then I'll be gone October into November. And I need the Army to give me my refrad so I can actually apply to Skill Bridge. It's been 7 weeks and they expect 4.
Gotcha. I would like to suggest that you talk to Larry Brown at the 4 o'clock group, because he's put together a really cool Excel spreadsheet that talks about timelines and all that. I highly encourage you to reach out to Larry Brown on that. He's got a really good Excel thing that shows all his obligations, like his VA appointments and all the other things. So you can sit down with your command and say, here's where I'm at, sir. Here's what I have to do before I leave the military. So it's a really well-informed document to help you. So I'll remind me if you forget, or just remind me to set a connection with you and Larry, okay?
Sounds good. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Brian.
Yeah, Matt. Everybody, good morning. So wins, I completed my master's degree a couple weeks ago, just before I started travel back to the East Coast from here in Hawaii. And another win was I had my first in-person interview with a great company back in Boston. And then challenges is just a new life, trying to figure out what and how to do with my time without having master's work anymore. And then another challenge is starting 4 block here a couple weeks, so getting ready for that. That's all I got this morning.
Hey, congratulations on completing your master's.
Thank you.
Okay, I see 2 people up in the upper square of my square. That would be Sam or Brent, who would like to be next. And then and Delana, of course.
I don't mind going. Hey, everybody. Greetings from San Antonio. Won't take too long. Things are progressing pretty well here on this side. I'm just getting better at my craft as far as successes and wins, finding more quality as a recruiter for Fusion Cell. Just trying to narrow that field and focus and push quality over quantity, and it's coming along pretty good. So the challenge is, Matt kind of alluded to it. We're just adjusting to an empty nest here at the house, the Schaefer Casa, and also the work from home. It's very different. I do like it. I'm embracing it, but it's just a different kind of atmospheric.
Thanks for sharing that. Sam or Delana, who would like to be next?
I'll go. All right, so wins. I attended the Service Academy Career Conference in San Diego last Thursday and Friday. Made a bunch of contacts, probably increased my LinkedIn numbers by about 20. I had 3 interviews at the conference, or pre-interviews, screenings, whatever you want to call it, at the conference. I had an interview for a job that I had worked on prior to the conference on Monday. And I'm supposed to have another interview today, but they haven't reached back out to me because maybe they got my email response back. But been looking at the national labs, so Lawrence Livermore out in California and Los Alamos here in New Mexico. I'm hoping Los Alamos is going to make an offer and get me in there. Plus, I looked at the federally funded research development centers. Those kind of things are kind of my speed, and we'll see how that happens. So I'm expecting to have at least 2 more interviews this week and maybe an offer in the next couple of weeks. Challenges. Maintaining my cool, waiting for emails to come back for the interviews. Maintaining my cool in the interview time. That's a little bit of a challenge for me because I tend to just start rattling off stuff. 30-day challenge has been a challenge for me because I haven't been able to get on LinkedIn and put comments and things, but I've been trying to hit it at least once a day and put some things up. Other than that, that's pretty much my wins and challenges for the last couple weeks.
Okay. So we have two people have been in our program, or they're now in different times. We have Brent and we have CC, and then I want to introduce Bert afterwards. So Brett, would you introduce yourself to this group? Brett Hansen. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, guys, hello. So I live up, I work at Fort Hood. I live here in Temple. I am kind of starting up big in the Austin area to kind of develop a team and a group down there, similar to the Mill City team. Retiring in 1 March. So I just got accepted for a fellowship down with Farmers Insurance. I'll be working down in the Georgetown, Austin area. Just kind of exploring my options and seeing if that's something I'm interested or not. And I would say my biggest challenge to this point has been timing. I started a year ago with MTR and then got waylaid because leadership felt that they needed to have me come back and do a bunch of investigations for the headquarters. So I finally have broken free of that cycle of excitement. And so now I'm on my way to finishing out my transition here over the next 6 months.
Thank you. You know, I forgot, Delana, that you should have done your wins and challenges. So please forgive me, okay? Mea culpa. Delana, please share with us your wins and challenges.
So wins, my wins this last week or so, I started a nonprofit, so I'm pretty excited about it. My goal is to bring apprenticeship programs to veterans, not just transitioning veterans, but I would also like to bring the focus back around to all veterans. So those who got out prior, especially those who got out during the recession when there weren't all these nonprofits and programs in place yet, or they weren't really going. My goal is to get them actual apprenticeships. So right now they have SkillBridge, which is for transitioning, but if you're already out, then you don't qualify. So I want to bring a program to where you're actually learning things like cybersecurity, software engineer. They're mostly going to be tech jobs because those are also work from home. So it would benefit all veterans, including the ones who have disabilities. And then start a job, like not just the school, but have a set program where actually you go to school and then you work right into a position right after. Right now the system's a little bit broken up, so there's no easy way of doing that, or like you guys understand, there's no airspeed way of doing it. So that's what I would like to, that's my focus. I'm also looking at, I'm putting together a program for military spouses in the cybersecurity as well. I've got the school, another nonprofit I'm working with, and a couple of companies that are listening to me. I just haven't gotten any yeses yet. But I'm really hoping to get over that hurdle. My challenges this week, there's definitely those challenges. It's funny. Sometimes people look and they're just like, oh, you're a recruiter, you know how to do everything. And I'm like, no, we're still learning too. But my challenges this week is to be, to learn how to space myself. I think that I do have, I have a yes problem. I say yes to everything. And sometimes I'm still sitting here at 9:30 at night on my computer. So
yeah.
I want to be able to find a way to space out my time to where I'm still helping just as much. But I'm able to at least catch a 30-minute show on the TV.
Okay, thank you, Delana. I have a good book for you that I'm going to share with you later. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cece, then Carlos, and then Bert. Cece, please introduce yourself to this group.
Hello, I'm Saressa, also go by CC. I was with a different time group, and now I'm with you guys due to me taking a IT course now. So that's why I'm here. So hello, everyone. Nice to meet you guys. So I've been in San Antonio now for 3 weeks, and I'm enjoying it. And hopefully, I can get through this IT course and get a job and start my career after retirement, which is 1 November.
Good to have you, Cece. Glad to have you switch to this group. I know you'll provide some dynamics to it, so welcome. Carlos, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Carlos. I'm still in the Navy, and I retired in July after 20 years. So my goal was to do only, 1 tour as many people. So I studied engineering, electronics engineering. I worked for about 5 years as an engineer in Mexico, and then came to the US in the Bay Area, California. And then I joined the Navy. Recession of 2001, having a baby at home, wife, a lot of layoffs. I'm like, I need to sign a contract. I cannot, I don't want to be the next victim tomorrow. And so I joined, not having a citizenship yet. I joined as enlisted, and I said, I'll just do my 4 years and get out. But then I ended up staying more than that. So now that I'm going back to, back to civilian, now I'm kind of lost. I'm not exactly sure where to focus myself, what to do. Yes, I got more education, a lot more training, but part of my head says, well, there's so many options, and I don't think I can go back to do the same engineering job just because I left that field so long ago. And I'm sorry, I'm a healthcare administrator in the Navy. So I've been in Navy medicine for all my career. But I subspecialized. I kind of found something in the engineering side. So I specialize in data science. Got a master's in operations research from the military. And so that's kind of like my niche. That's what I'm trying to focus when I lead, something that I like numbers, so I'm good with that. I'm good with computers. So trying to find something in between.
Okay. Thank you for Thanks for sharing that. And now I want to introduce Bert. Bert is part of the San Antonio Veterans Advisory Council. Over to you, Bert.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Yes, my name is Bert Quintanilla, retired Navy captain, 37 years in, not an enlisted duty officer, in other words, not a Mustang, but was offered the enlisted commissioning program and graduated from the University of New Mexico, and then became a surface warfare line officer. So I commanded ships and squadrons of ships in a very large school. I'm born and raised in San Antonio, came home, married for 35 years. The missus was okay with San Antonio and the humidity, so here we are. And I retired from the Navy in 2015 at 55 years old with 37 years in. And so I was sort of behind the power curve as far as ageism goes. And that was a very ugly thing to grapple with here in San Antonio, being a Navy guy, being branded as a Navy guy in an Army and an Air Force town. So I found other very interesting and fruitful things to do. And so, Matt, thank you for inviting me to listen here today. And it's good to meet everybody. The only bumper sticker that I have as far as advice goes, I am American Legion Post 10 here in San Antonio, service officer. And with the San Antonio Veterans Affairs Commission in District 9, working for Councilman Courage, his staff knows they can tap into me to help veterans that they receive calls from. Unfortunately, I'm working with a case right now of a widow in her 80s, and she's suffering from breast cancer. Her husband passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, and was a Vietnam veteran in the Riverine Forces, serving on the Vietnamese-Cambodian border, and was most likely exposed to Agent Orange just based on some of the health issues that he developed later in his life. He never filed for his VA benefits. And so now she wants to try to recoup the VA benefits as a surviving spouse. And this is obviously not possible because he did not open a VA account for his disabilities. So working with her, trying to make sure she understands what has occurred, and the lesson learned for every veteran is that whether you have a broken eyelash or a broken leg, make sure that it's in your medical record, and that you do register with the VA. If you get 0% disability, that's just the way the ball bounces, but that you do have a record with the VA, so that later on, as things develop and become service connected, your family can assist you in your time of need. Unfortunately, this gentleman passed away. He was a career, after the Navy, a career Southern Pacific Railroad locomotive, and just never found the time to tidy up his record. And then now the family, his spouse, surviving spouse, is in a bind. So that's my bumper sticker. Nobody asked, but I thought it very important to pass that on to all of you to make sure that if you're retired now or on the cusp of retiring, that you register with the VA through your medical record and not fall into the trap of thinking that that you don't deserve it, and that a grateful nation is not standing by to reward you and take care of you in your later years as your youth was consumed, partially at least, by your career. That's it, Matt. I'm listening. Good
Thank
to
you,
see
Bert.
everybody. You bet.
I see that my friend Blake jumped in. Hello, Blake. Wins and challenges, buddy.
Hi, Matt. Wins and challenges. Wins. Let's see here. Having better relationships with the wife and spending more time with the kids, doing things at home. Challenges. The wife has been sick for the past 3 months after getting COVID, and that's made things more challenging as far as scheduling stuff and working around all that, and it's added strain as far as making things work in the business side of things, if that makes sense.
It does. And I know you and I had a nice talk last week about this, so I'm glad to hear that you're working towards those goals.
Yep, sorry I'm late.
So we're going to transition into who has a problem they want to put a spotlight on. And from there, what we'll do is we'll ask factual questions, okay? And then we'll give advice. So does anyone have a concern that they would like to share with this group? Looking for a volunteer. I'm looking at you, Sam, and I'll tell you what I'd like you to do, Sam. I'm being very direct. I would like for you to talk about what you did prior to the Service Academy conference. I think that what you can share with people is the kind of information that it should be a spotlight. You know, you're talking about your patients and all that, but also on the other side, you did some amazing things as far as getting ready for that conference. I helped a little bit. I know some other people helped a little bit. So Sam, can I ask you to be the spotlight for today?
Sure, I'll try my best.
Okay. So I think what I want to do is I want you to talk about the prep you put in, okay? And we'll ask you some questions and then the aftermath. So if you would please take a couple minutes to explain that, and then let's ask questions. So
All right.
Sam.
All right, so a background for the folks that are new. I've been at home for about the last 2.5, 3 years, taking care of my spouse and my dad. My spouse got sick and my dad ended up having a problem with diabetes. So I've been out of the workforce for about 3 years. Since about March, I've been putting out resumes. And then I got involved with the VTIP and folks on LinkedIn to help me get squared away. Special ops background. I can do it all myself. I don't need any help. And after about 3 months of getting nothing, I decided to reach out. So a little bit of sucking down my pride, and I got a lot of help. So over the previous 5-6 weeks, I had a friend of mine from back in my early days who happens to be a CEO of a very large company. He'd spend an hour with me every week working on my resume. So the first thing I did was clean up my resume, changing my military jobs into something that people understand. The example I think I used last time was being the chief of the plans and operations branch of the network integration division at the Brigade Modernization Command doesn't mean anything to anybody. But being a senior IT manager, information technology manager, because I was running projects to do network architecture and to solve interoperability problems for battle command systems, a senior information technology manager is a better name for that. Clean that up, went to more active voice in my resume, added some price tags, added some things that do the oomph that people are looking at. Brett got in and started beating me over the head with my LinkedIn, and it's been very value added. He's given me a lot of stuff. I haven't implemented all of it yet. He keeps on telling me go back to my OERs, but they're somewhere in a box. I haven't gotten them yet. But the amount of help that he has given me and the things that I have done have been very, very helpful. I started reaching out to, or after I cleaned up my resume, it took me about 5 weeks to get it to the effective place I needed to get it to. And I started sending out, I put it on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and I started getting folks calling me back or sending emails or doing pre-interviews. It was good because nobody said anything to me. So I was able to get through that as well. When I heard about and as I reached out on LinkedIn, I had several of my classmates say, hey, go to the Service Academy Career Conference, which is for service. I don't want to be a ring knocker in here, but for Service Academy grads, they sometimes have career conferences. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end here. It's just a hiring conference for Service Academy grads. He said, go to this one. I went to the one in San Diego. Prior to that, I was reaching out to various individuals on LinkedIn, if they had a LinkedIn account, or on their webpage. They told us not to put in resumes prior to the conference because you'll get, filtered out by the ATS. And then you'll end up having to go through that whole thing again when you meet the folks that are at the conference and talking through that and then getting that connection. What I have learned since at the SAC and prior to the SAC is really it's not all your qualifications, all your skill sets, all the things you know, your hard and soft skills. I hate to say it, it's really about who you know and the connections that you have to make. Brett got me onto that. I started reaching out to the people that are hiring managers, are guys that have jobs, folks that are within each of the companies that maybe I was looking to work at, and reaching out to classmates who might have worked out there, or even military guys, Army, Air Force, Navy, whatever branch you're in. You can probably reach out to people that are working in those companies and say, hey, I'm looking to maybe get into this company. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And that's what's, for some folks, if you don't know that, it's an informational interview, in which you spend about 15 or 30 minutes finding out about the company, maybe finding out if that's maybe the right culture for you. You get your first introduction to folks that are working there. They'll give you an idea of, hey, is this a place that I really want to work at? So got my outfit, my suit squared away, got it ready, went to the hiring conference, and then it was just running around and talking to everybody at the tables. Since many of them were graduates of the academies, you have a little bit of we had a common denominator. And so it was easier to talk to them, but I won't say that was all of them. So about half the folks that were there were just there as a hiring conference. And you didn't get the I don't know what it is, the common ground. You know, folks say, oh, I'm a veteran and I'm a veteran hirer, and you don't have the common ground with them in this case. But even as a veteran, I didn't feel like I had some of the common ground that I thought I should have. And one of the problems I had at the conference was about a quarter of the tables I went to, there's like 150 groups or companies there, is I go to the table and they say, hey, I've done this. I've been in the Army for 23 years. I was an IT guy, chief information officer, doing all sorts of stuff. And they're like, well, if you like our company, go to the website. Okay, if I want to go to the website, I would have gone on the website before I came and talked to you guys. And that's about a quarter of the tables that I went to. And it was very, very discouraging because I just took the card and I walked away. Because if that's the way the hiring conference is supposed to, if they're going to tell you go to the website, you don't need, I personally think you don't need to talk to them. You know, you're supposed to do that interface and do that pitch, your 5-minute pitch, or your elevator pitch to them, get them interested in you, and then start talking about other stuff. But frequently, or about 25% of the time, it was probably about 10 to 15 tables. They just say, go to the website.
So Sam, can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah.
What I want you to share with people, and what my question is, what did you do how did you use LinkedIn before you went to the conference?
Okay, so I went over, okay. So it was about looking up the companies that were going to be at the conference, finding out what the culture was, finding out what they were going to be, and then sending out, if you could find the hiring manager. Some companies don't put anything on it, just they have a space on LinkedIn, but some companies have the whole list of all their employees. So, for example, one of these companies is called the Washington River Protection Services, which is in Washington State. I didn't know what they did until I talked to them, but on their site, they have 1,000 employees that work there. Okay, and they clean up the nuclear waste from our weapons programs from the 40s. But any one of those companies that has a hiring manager or a person you can reach out to, you can get those informational interviews to find out about the company, see if that's what you want to be involved with. You can send in-mail messages as, hey, I'm interested in these 3 jobs. Can you talk to me about them? Can you give me a referral? Or can I talk to your hiring manager? Or are they going to be at this conference? And in this case, I only went to the folks. I only looked up folks for the conference. And honestly, I only went to the ones that I was interested in: Intel, Microsoft, Amazon. Some of the other ones I didn't even know about. And you reach out to them, and then they might say, hey, let's do a 30-minute interview or an informational interview, which I had a couple of those. But it was searching through LinkedIn because it is a great resource, because you can find out more stuff about the company and people in that research than you might be able to find online. And of course, I also think that Glassdoor and some of these other review sites of workers at these companies give you a good idea of what goes on there as well. Did I hit it, Matt?
You did. So question, but I want to have the group ask you some more questions, because you are in the spotlight, sir. You're the constant.
Wow, twice in like 5 rotations.
That's okay. This is a topic that we need to cover. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Sam?
Okay. Okay. Go Gavin.
Were there only like one veteran hiring manager that kept like pushing you towards the website? Was anybody else there be like, hey, like I'm looking for a little bit more culture fit rather than what it says online?
So yes, and that's why I said it was only about 25% of the companies. Everybody that was there was, or almost, I'd say 80-90% of the folks that were there were actually academy graduates. Again, this is a special case, but they all had military veteran recruiters there as well. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Tesla, a company that I really wanted to work at, but they didn't have any grads, so it didn't have that common denominator. And when I went to him and says, hey, I've done this IT stuff, I've done this, I'm into technology, I want to get in. He says, well, here, give me your resume, go check out the website. And I had done that already. It was discouraging. Microsoft, same thing. Go check out the website. But those were military recruiters as well. Every time I said IT at that place, they asked me, oh, are you a software developer? Are you a software engineer? I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not this purview of the folks that are here. they start salivating, and I said, no, I wasn't a software developer or software engineer. And they would say, well, check out the website. So that's the thing I put as an after comment to the organizers. Like, if they're looking for software developers and software engineers from academy graduates, you're probably not going to find them. But, I will tell you this, and this is an interesting story that was told to me, is there were a couple folks that, because San Diego's a military town, or has a little bit of military town, that wandered into the hotel and saw the conference. They weren't academy graduates, but they were walking around, handing out their resumes and talking to folks. And that I heard from a couple of the tables, because they're like, hey, I want to talk to that guy because he has the cojones to walk up here and not be part of the academy and ask me. I want to find out more. But no, they were all military veterans. But like I said, some of the companies, they just say go to your website, but a lot of them I got to engage with. So I have an interest in federally funded research and development centers, where you get to do thinking and do stuff like that. And I must have talked to each one of those tables like a half an hour. And those are like senior guys, brain thinking people. You write, you research, and you write critical thinking pieces to advise Congress or the government on various things. So hope I asked that question.
Okay, I think I got it. Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, Sam, this is Brent. Thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it. I guess we didn't hear the end of it, but I'm curious, for the tables that you did approach, you said you targeted them deliberately. You've already researched their sites and such. Did you have a position in mind when you approached them, or did you approach them from a culturally fit kind of perspective? Does that make sense?
So I think I said in my first meeting with the group way back when, was that all of us in the military are all project managers. We may not have the certification, but that's what we do. We lead people and we manage equipment and projects. So to me, no matter what you're in, whether you're in logistics or signal or anything like that, you have those basic building blocks of managing things and leading people. So I went in there looking at project manager jobs and project program director jobs specifically, because I know that, I have a background in IT and technology, but with a little bit of learning and spending a little bit of time in investigating in industry or whatever the company is, that I can get up to speed very, very quickly. And anybody that I think, my belief is anybody in the military, like the folks all in here, if I could put you in a job, you would pick up the nuances of the job very, very quickly, because you already have leadership. You already have management of things and projects, but picking up the nuances of, hey, this is the vocabulary we use here, and this is, the different equipment sets that we use here. There might be some other things, but I think you can stick very well in any one of those. So I went as a project manager and project leader, and some companies have different names for that. But you have to, when I was engaging them, I found out that, this is a little bit different name for that skill set.
What are the different names that you found for project leader, project manager when you were doing your reconnaissance there, Sam?
So sometimes some companies interchange program manager with project manager. Okay. And I think it's just poor writing on the skill sets or how they wrote that. In other cases, it is they call their operations directors or operations managers our program or project managers. Okay, and those are two different things. But when you dig down into the job description, it's actually a project manager. And so if you're going through an ATS on a commercial site, and you're looking at it like, this is all project management stuff, but it says operational manager, you're going to get stuck through it at the ATS. And those are the two common ones: is operations manager and interchanging project manager and program manager, program director. So manager, director, coordinator, those are all interchangeable. Well, they use them interchangeably, but they mean different things. The coordinator is usually a person that's tracking calendars. and looking at schedules, but not doing the full blown, hey, I'm looking at variances, I'm looking at, timelines and schedules, I'm making approvals on SOs. But sometimes I think it's lazy, I believe it's probably lazy writing and how they write these things, because they'll say project coordinator, but it'll give you everything that you would be doing as a program manager or a project manager. So those were the interoperables that I saw.
I just want to clarify something real quick. I'm sure you saw my Italian hands going up all over the place. It's not due to laziness. Let me just write that in real quick. It's the fact that there's no fluidity within the civilian sector. So in the military, you can only call something, it's an apple if it's an apple, it's a grape if it's a grape. In the civilian sector, this is your company. You get to title anything any way you want to. So it's not the fact that someone there's no laziness factor. Let me just take that part out. It has everything to do with attracting talent. So when they saw that people were putting in operations managers as far as bouillon searches, things like that, it came down to they were getting a lot more traction. So they started changing their titles so that way they can get that traction of better talent. When it comes to, you can literally have an operations manager for Alta and you're basically a shift supervisor versus an operations manager for a plant, and you're over the production of manufacturing. So there's definitely a difference. The thing that you want to search for, and this is what I find most often the mistake, is you're used to searching for those ranks and searching for something specific as in titles, and not so much the skills. You can filter your searches, and I think that people get stuck on this, is they're not filtering enough of the skills that they have versus those titles. And so they end up missing out on jobs that they could apply for because they don't understand how to search for those skills. As far as project management and program management, it really just depends on the company and what it is that they're looking to do with that individual. There are people who want you to come in and they want you to project, create it, and then run it. So then you go from project manager to program manager. But you can also be the one, like we have an implementation team on, even with my own company or even with J&J, where literally all you do is create the project, you get it up and running, and then you hand it off to someone else and you're moving on to the next project. So it really just depends. And that's, I mean, and even within J&J, they're not equal. There's no fluidity because there's so many different types of areas. It's a huge billion-dollar pharmaceutical company. So they might on one end be managing the development of baby wipes versus on the other end, they're managing the development of pills, of prescription drugs. And even those they're not equal across the board because it really just depends on what it is. So when you're looking at those things, you have to take that into account. I can start a business right now and call myself an executive assistant, an executive. It's really just, that's what people do. And when they change titles and they start moving titles around, it really just depends. As far as coordinator is the adjective. It's what's in front of coordinator that makes the difference on what the job is. So you can have a talent coordinator, you can have a production coordinator, and then you go into the job description to see what it is on how that filters out on what exactly that they're asking for. And you can also look up the company. The company is going to tell you the difference. I come from an RPO company, a project manager for a recruiting firm and a project manager for Tesla aren't going to be the same, and they're not going to require the same degrees.
So Delaney,
You got to look into each one of them.
I'm interjecting here.
Sorry.
That's okay. I know you're passionate about this, and I appreciate your insight on this. Having you in this group kind of gives an insight to the other side of this, the get hired aspect of it. So, Sam, what do you think you learned about the prep for this job fair, and tell people about what you did with the potential offers that were given to you as a result of your work and your effort before, during, and hopefully will happen after the conference.
Well, I haven't got any offers yet, but part of the consideration for me, I'm fluid. I can go anywhere except the coast. I don't want to go to California. I don't want to go to New York. For many people, that's just, they're going to be wherever they're at. And for me, I was willing to go to Colorado. I'm willing to go to Arizona. I'm willing to go to New Mexico. I'm willing to go to Oklahoma. I love to be in Texas. But I have a little bit wider net of places that I want to go. So those are the places that I was looking at. There's a couple companies that are now interested in me, but they don't have any plants in Texas. They have plants all over the United States. It's a really interesting job, but I don't know if I want to move to those places because it's not that interesting. Whereas this one job in Washington, they're cleaning up nuclear waste. I don't want to go to Washington State, but man, it looks like a really cool and interesting job. So I'm considering that. And if I go through that process, I talked to the second interview I did on my car as I was driving back to Las Cruces. So spent a lot of time asking questions about how, what's the environment like? What's the work exactly? What's expected of me? Here's what I don't know. Here's what I'm going to learn. And that's kind of what I went to all of the different, the companies I talked to at the conference where I don't have my security clearance. It lapsed back in 2019. If you have a security job, will you sponsor me or will you not sponsor me? Or do I just need to walk away? Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman are very much like that. If you don't have your clearance, they really don't want to talk to you because that's money to spend. And honestly, I'm looking at it as, man, I need to start a business to get people their security clearances when they get lapsed because there's people out there that are just like me. Understanding if you're willing to move, understanding if it is something that you're interested in doing. Some folks I've heard this in here that you got to find your passion and chase your passion for what you want to do. Sometimes the first job out isn't finding your passion. Sometimes it's just continuing to have the cash flow while you decide what you want to do. And with the extra cash flow that you get, if you're pulling in a retirement check like I am, you use that for education and the skill set that you want to get to. But for me, it was cleaning up my resume. It was investing in the companies I was interested in and reaching out to them on LinkedIn or on email if I could find their email address. If it was, in my case, Academy graduates that I knew, I'd reach out to Academy graduates and say, hey, I'm interested in this. And that's really the gist of how I prepared myself. My resume, I didn't tailor it for the resume book. I had my final form that focused on project management, project leadership with a strengths in information technology. Whereas if I was trying to go to get a CIO, I'd emphasize all my CIO stuff, but project management and IT and technology. Gavin.
Have you gotten your PMP?
Yes, I did. I did the 020 IVMF from Penn State or Syracuse University. It was great. They didn't pay for it, but the education was incredible. So I was able to pass it first time.
Rodney had a question too. I saw Rodney's hand come up.
Yeah. Hey, Sam, thanks for sharing the experience. Particularly, so my question is more geared towards knowing now your experience with running into folks that weren't the right decision makers or the folks that were telling you to go to your websites. How would you change your approach, or would there be anything that you would change your approach? I'm talking about going to one of these virtual or in-person job fairs for others. What are there things that you would change knowing that? And you talked about a lot of your preparations. I'm just curious, because again, that's a common experience that you mentioned, running into folks that aren't really the right folks for things I'm in. I'm just interested, knowing that what you've been through, how you would have changed your approach, if any.
Well, I think when you go to a hiring conference, you're motivated to talk to everybody. And if you really want to go talk to Microsoft because they're in Austin and it's a big company and you can find a place and you go there and they say, well, I'm looking for software developers and software engineers, you get very discouraged. And that's what happened with me. I didn't want to talk to the guy. I didn't want to talk to anybody else at Microsoft because the guy who was the main hiring guy said, well, I'm looking for software engineers and software developers. Maybe you want to go into business development. I don't want to go into business development. However, as Delana said, it probably means something different at Microsoft. But the way I would approach it, because they have conferences all over the place. If you're going to go to like Orion, which is one of the ones I went to before, they put out a resume book. People ask for interviews. If you're going to say go to the website, people are already doing that. I mean, that's why I reached out on LinkedIn. Is I was going to the website, I was putting in the stuff. I wasn't using LinkedIn like I've been trained or like Matt has showed me, and you get rejected because you're not getting through the ATSs. Because I asked many people at that conference, hey, do you have an ATS? Yes, we do, or whatever their version of it. And that's where I found out, hey, it's really about who you know, because the ATS, you're going to spend hours, which I've done recently, of tailoring your resume to get through the ATS, and then you get a rejection a week later.
So Blake has a question. Blake?
So, hey, Sam, I think you might have just been kind of touching on it, but when they ask or when they recommend, hey, go to the website, did you ever ask or did they ever specify what was specifically the purpose of going to the website? Like go here and do X, Y, and Z, or like, because from a recruiter standpoint, it sounds like it's just like, hey, get out of here. Go check out the website.
It's go look for the jobs on the website that you think you're going to want to be part of or you want to do. And I had done that. Unfortunately, some of the job, like trying to get into Tesla or not Tesla, SpaceX. I was looking hard at SpaceX over the last three months. The problem is I didn't do engineering out of college. I got my engineering degree, but I didn't do engineering as my job. You know, that high tech stuff and new futuristic tech stuff, I'm interested in that. But even to get an engineer one job, which is the lowest level job, you got to have the background of, you know, whatever engineering it is that they're looking at, propulsion systems, etc. So it's horrible because if you're a tech person, you've been in the military for 20 years, the chances of you breaking in tech at the development and design and things like that, it seems to me to be very discouragingly difficult. Whereas if you're like 5 years in, you can go to school, you can get your engineering degree, and they'll scoop you up like no tomorrow. But basically they're saying, go to the website, see what you like, and apply. And in some cases, they said, I'm the veteran person, send me your resume and tell me what the requisition number. So that was the hint from several of the folks is, because I made a connection with you, send me the requisition number when you put the resume in. And I will, you know, put in a referral, which I guess that gives a little bit extra weight to get past the ATS or past whatever they do, and maybe get it to the right hiring manager for whatever it is. So yes, the connection was send me the requisition number.
Okay, it's time to kind of wrap this up, guys, because we still got one more portion of this. This has been a really enlightening time, Sam. I know we picked on you twice in the last 5 sessions, but you and I talked yesterday and I said, if nobody comes forth, I was going to have you talk about this because we're facing more and more job fairs and these kind of environments in this post-COVID world of ours. Okay. Of all the things we talked about, what's the one major takeaway that you would give everybody in this group? And as far as getting prepared for something like this?
Know what you want to do, which is a difficult thing for me. I didn't know I could do anything because I'm fluid. But everybody wants to say, you know, find your passion or find the thing you want to do. And then you find out, well, I want to work in IT and high tech. And you find out, well, I haven't been doing it the way that they want you to have done it. So that's where I said my intake or my way in is project management and project or program management.
Okay, thanks, sir. Now we come to the last part of this where this is what can we hold you accountable for the next 2 weeks? Rodney, I want to start with you because I know you're going to be leaving us because you got your new job, and congratulations on that. So Rodney, I'll let you start that process, please.
Just continue to focus on LinkedIn, whether despite getting hired, I still need to engage on LinkedIn. So I just
Okay.
need to get back on it.
All right, you and I are going to talk about that. Okay. Brent Schaefer, next 2 weeks.
LinkedIn engagement.
Okay. You and I need to have a conversation, my friend. Okay. Gavin?
This week, I want to complete my black belt, and then I want to start on at least 1 or 2 info sessions with VC partners or workers, so I know what I'm going to be getting into with the Shift Defense Ventures program. And then I've got like 3 books that I'm working on, so hopefully finish one of those before the next session.
Okay, let me know what the books are. I'm always interested. I've got to get some more. I do all my stuff on books on tape when I'm driving. I'm reading Essentialism, listening to Essentialism right now, so it's really a great book, and I'm going to recommend it to a couple people in the last group because they're like, it's a time management thing. And Delana, I'm looking at you too. I'm going to recommend that book to you. Okay.
I'll send them to you, Matt.
Delana, next 2 weeks. Accountability.
For me, it's finally sealing off getting a contract with a company for my cyber military spouse program.
Okay. I got somebody that I need to introduce you to that will help you with that. Okay. All right. Cece, next 2 weeks.
To pretty much pass my ITIL foundation class, and then next week I start A+.
Good for you. Ash.
See, focus on classwork and trying to keep up with the LinkedIn postings.
You're doing a good job, sir. You and I had a meeting last week. I like where you're going with your stuff. Okay. Good on you, sir. Some good stuff. Blake.
Yeah, being more diligent on tracking my task lists and updating things that get done and things that need to get done.
Okay. Brett, welcome to this group. What can we hold you accountable for the next 2 weeks?
Actually, Matt, I know we talked about it at the beginning before everybody kind of joined up. I'll put a shameless plug in here. Anybody that's in the Austin area on the 15th of September, during the evening at Celis Brewery, we're going to be holding the first LinkedIn Mill ATX, very similar to the Mill City LinkedIn group networking event up here in Austin. So my accountability for the next 2 weeks is to get the word out to VFW, DAV, some of the other companies that might send recruiters and other veteran organizations.
Hey, Brett, if you could hang on for a minute, I want to talk to you about that other side project, if you wouldn't mind. So,
okay.
Thanks. Okay. Christine.
Well, I think I just want to do the best I can to help my friend start her new company and kick off on Friday, and talk to her boss today about being the project manager, and sell that, and just try to continue to grow the business and kind of fetter out some of these companies that are not giving any business to me, and just really try to focus on the ones that are worthwhile, because some people, they'll just spin your wheels, which is a real bummer. I was really glad to hear all the project management stuff today, and you can hold me accountable to make as much project management progress as I can in that course, because it's interesting, and everybody at Google is a project manager. Even if they're doing data, they're doing project management. So I didn't realize how much I knew about this stuff, and I just decided this is something I got to do. So
Good for you. Carlos, welcome to the first time with this group. What did you think?
Thank you. I appreciate all the feedback I hear from you. From Sam, I'm hearing it's stressful going to these events. I'm thinking it's gonna be the same for me, talking to so many people and then no offers when I leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to find my passion, as people say, trying to see what I
So you're getting on next July, is that correct?
July of next year, so.
Okay,
yeah.
so you have some lead time there. Okay. Great. We'll be talking more about that. And can I send you an application to join MTR?
Sure, and then we have a schedule today, I think.
I know we have a following meeting. Yeah, Carlos was impacted by my internet that decided to go south yesterday, so I had to reset him. The internet decided that since I was gone for 2 days, it missed me so much that they had to cut me off from access with my Spectrum cable. So yeah, I apologize. Look forward to talking to you in about an hour, Carlos. Okay.
Okay.
And Bert, what did you think here, sir? Of what went on today?
Yes, it was very nice to meet everybody. I empathize with a lot of the stories that I've heard and how difficult it is to transition out of the military. But I wish you all the best of luck and that you bloom where you are planted and that all of the fruits of your labor are going to pay off for you soon. It's good to meet everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, Bert. Look forward to talking to you. I hope to make it to the Legion thing on, it's Saturday, right? We're having a meeting Saturday?
Well, yes, there's an American Legion is going to meet next week.
Oh, it's next Saturday. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because of the 3-day weekend on the
All
10th.
right. I am glad to check that. Okay, guys. Well, listen, this concludes our meeting. Be looking for, we're going to be doing several webinars. One's going to be on networking with the same Michael Brownfield. How do we build a network? We're going to do another workshop on photos with the guy that does the photos here in San Antonio. Matt's and I are gonna talk about how you can get a somewhat photo quality picture with a couple tips, and we're gonna do that on the first week of October. So be looking for all that through the usual exchange of information through the MTR groups. This has been a great group. This has kept me on my toes, and I really enjoy the interaction with this group. And Sam, if you don't mind, if you could send me that note that you're going to send to Howie.
I owe you that. I was able to work.
I know you've been busy, so I just thought I'd ask, okay? All right, guys, this ends the session. See you in 2 weeks. Enjoy the 3-day weekend.
Masalam.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
See you.
Brett, we're putting together a San Antonio transition calendar. There's a lot of people that go up to live out of Austin. So if you could send us that information today, we're putting together a prototype. The county is talking to me and some other people about creating an online virtual calendar. It replaces the JBS. It doesn't replace it. It enhances JBSA's alliance effort to let people know. I would also encourage you to get invited for the next alliance meeting, which is next Tuesday at 8:30. I'll get you the information on that. I'll make the introductions because people need to know what's going on. Because while we're a San Antonio centric, that alliance is San Antonio centric. We've got to reach out to that and applaud you on all that. I do want to ask if I can get some more time to talk about something called the ETS program, and if we could set a time tomorrow or something like that, I would be grateful. Can I talk to you at like 8:30 in the morning tomorrow?
Yeah, is that ETS sponsorship?
Yeah, phone call. I have a question about that. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get a hold of some people up there at Fort Hood, and maybe you know the path to that, okay, for Colonel Don Gleason and myself. Okay.
So yeah, so we had somebody has come in and recently they've been doing ETS sponsorship stuff up here.
Yeah.
So certainly I can tie back into that. And that's something.
I just want, I know you, I have a very strong memory for what's going on in life. And I know you were working some special investigations, and you probably know who is the person I need to approach with the help of Don Gleason. I'm talking to people, but it's like, the biggest thing is that I like the ETS program, but I really want to create a mastermind program for those younger soldiers, so that they have the same kind of program that you saw today. Okay, we have grown into something stronger and better. So that's what I'd like to engage, if that would be okay for me to call you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm packed up in the morning. I gotta go down and take some insurance licensing stuff.
Okay.
And then I'm doing HOH all afternoon, but I'm free like 4 o'clock or later.
Let me call you. May I call you at 4:15?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll call you at 4:15. Thank you, Brett.
Okay, you still got my number?
I have your number. Yes, sir, I do.
Good. Okay, thanks.
All right, bye. Sam, I am. He's still here. Hello, Sam.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just working on some stuff, sending some LinkedIn stuff out.
Okay. I really want people to understand. I thought your process was very enlightened for the research part. That's why if nobody stepped forward, I have my ace in the hole. You know, you were my ace in the hole today. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's interesting. I knew exactly what Delana was saying, but I mean, I wasn't trying to cast aspersions to anybody, but I got that impression. She's like, oh, wow. It's like, it's just.
That's what a mastermind is all about, man.
They
That's what a
name things
mastermind is all about.
differently, and you gotta get through it. And personally, I'm gonna talk to her afterwards because I really think that people are lazy out there because they really don't know what they're doing and for their job descriptions. But that's just, yeah, you can call it whatever you want, but if you're attracting the wrong people, which is what I found out. I was talking to, wasn't Charles, but it was one of my friends that works at Raytheon. I don't know if I told you this, I told it to a couple of people. At Raytheon, they've kind of, not because of the recession, they've kind of like put a brake on who they're bringing into Raytheon. And the reason they're putting a brake on is because they're getting guys and gals that are being a bit fictitious on their resumes. So they're getting into these high-paying jobs as, program director or project director or whatever it is, or a senior engineer, senior director position, that when they get in there, they really actually don't have any skills or qualifications. And the problem is they can't just dump them. They can't fire them. They have to go through their process because they're a large corporation. A smaller corporation, it doesn't matter. But a large corporation, they got to go through their process to separate them from the company. And so that job is being held by that person while they're spending the 6 months to 9 months to get them out of the company. So apparently Raytheon's been burned and they're very, very discerning in what they're bringing in. But Raytheon's a good company. The problem is I heard this from a couple of folks. They're saying, yeah, people are lying. They're getting in. You can't get rid of them. Not with the big companies. The smaller companies, you can.
Yep.
The big companies, they got to go through their process. And
Yep.
that's discouraging.
It's the lawyers. It's the lawyers. Well, listen, I wanted to say goodbye, sir. I got to get ready for the next group, the entrepreneurs group at 11:30. But man, it's so good to talk
What's
to
the
you.
entrepreneurs group?
That's the guys that own their own businesses.
Well, my brother and I started our business and we're working on it.
The dog breeding business.
No. Our business is Dutari Aerospace, which is, the goal is to send microsatellites into space and bring them back to Earth fast, like within 3 to 6 weeks, and return them back to their owners, which is not part of the design process. The problem is we determined that we needed to earn money, so we're collecting some contracts on space-based identification and AI and all that kind of stuff. So, and then we're getting to start our own not-for-profit, which is to build a pipeline from the 18 to 24-year-old hole that we have in the civilian sector.
Yeah.
Give them the skills to be able to get their security clearance, get their data processing IT skills without being in the military.
Yeah.
Year-long, we're looking at it as a year-long process to get them this training, get them 6 months of work, and then farm them out to companies that need those folks with security clearances. So we're still working through that, and we're gonna have the not-for-profit set up, but how we're gonna do it is we're working on fine-tuning that.
So a couple of things. If you'd like to be part of that group, I'd love to have you in that group. We meet at 11:30. It's my Tuesdays are 7, 10, and 11:30. And then between that, I have a meeting with the JVSA Alliance when I feel like I want to be part of that. Okay. So happy to have you. If you, it's not as dynamic as the other groups, but we're growing it. Okay, let me send you an invite for that for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or your brother, whatever you want to do.
You know, he is a veteran also. I mean, he's in the Army still, but
I'd
this
love to
is
have him. I'd love
this
to
is
have
something that we have agreed.
I get your business model. I do. I do. And in fact, sitting within earshot is my son, the cyber anthropologist, who's like, he's having issues, you know, because he writes brilliant. He could write policy. He's a policy wonk. He can help people understand why they should do things, but just getting his foot in the door, which means he's got to work for the old man, and he's like, it's okay, but I really want him to find his own.
FFRDCs, if he wants to do thinking and writing, I hadn't even considered them. I'd worked with them before. And when MITRE gave its brief, there's like 7 of them in the United States. I was like, this is what I want to do, is write stuff and think about things and research and provide guidance. If that's what he wants to do, check out the FFRDCs. There's a few of them. You guys are in San Antonio. I don't know who's in San Antonio. He might have to move.
I know some people there.
But man,
yeah,
it fired me up because I was like, man, I like this idea. So
yeah. Like I said, let's find some time, because like I said, I gotta do the biological thing between this and the next one.
All right.
And
I will talk to you
be in
later.
touch. See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.